into the. You are now tuned into the. You are now tuned into the Fraudcast.
Hi, we have breaking news. You have breaking news. I don't. You do.
Breaking news as we speak. Yeah. I was on Instagram. I was chatting with my buddy 90 Day Rando. We both had the idea. She put out a video.
Right. Was this the one with Jeffrey?
No. That one came after. So this one was a video of her in a car. I'm assuming she wasn't driving. It looked like she was in the passenger seat. I'm hoping she wasn't driving, but what do they call it? Whatever. She was posing.
Okay.
And while most people were focused on her breast,
thinking, they were there.
I mean, she kind of helped us focus on it with the camera, but at first I think her point. I was like, is she going to launch OnlyFans? Is this April Fool's, or is she not understanding what April Fool's is? But in the background, there's a few signs that she passes by, and the ever curious, right? Mm-hmm. Pause the video and see if you can find that sign.
Right.
And so when he messaged me, he's like, I know where she is. I'm like, oh, you beat me to it. I wasn't able to get a clear photo on one of the signs. It's driving me absolutely crazy.
Okay.
But it turns out that this sign places her in Florida. We don't know if she's just visiting on vacation or if she
Do we know where
there.
In Florida?
Not exactly where in Florida. Hold on. But that's a good question.
Because, I mean, Florida's a big state. Is this sign specific to general Florida, or is it specific to like a location within Florida?
This sign is closer to, and I'm not familiar with Florida, so the beacon says Newport Richey.
Okay.
Hudson.
Yeah.
I don't know Florida. Oh, so it looks like it's just northwest of Tampa.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
you know what? We have
Port Richey.
Yes, we have a source in the Tampa area.
Oh, nice.
Sarah Sunshine lives there.
Oh, that's true.
So she's in Tampa. Interesting.
But like I said, she's there. It means so much, right? It can mean she's living there.
Could mean anything.
Mean she's just visiting.
It's spring break after all.
It is spring break, and
not that really matters for her.
But it is very far from Washington. So, yeah, I guess draw your own conclusions for now. But
who might she be there with?
No clue, but somebody was driving.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it could have been an Uber driver. There's no way to know, but
that poor Uber driver. You're like, what do you want now?
Interesting. And then I saw the video she posted with Jeffrey, but they weren't really together in the video. It's like
they weren't together.
They were split screen video,
like
or
a TikTok type. Not mashup, but when they do
like a duet response thing where they're not actually filming in the same location.
Right. It took me a while too, because when I first saw it, I was like, who the hell's that guy? I was like,
know.
Oh, that's that one dude from the 90 Day Fiance show that no one talks about.
That we don't talk about because he's like a wife beater. Whatever. Do we know whatever happened to those criminal charges?
I don't know, because I didn't care to follow up on it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming since he's not in jail, maybe, but you never know what happens in court. Like we said, it was only alleged.
Right.
A lot of details we didn't know.
Right.
And whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of lawsuits, this is sort of unrelated, but there's lawsuits against the company that does the production company that does My 600-Pound Life. Right. There's like a bunch of
those popped up within the past couple of years of the
and they've all been consolidated together. It's this one lawyer doing all of them, right? And then I had the pleasure of reading these lawsuits. They're all filed in Texas. They're all public record. And through courtesy of our friend John at Starchasm. Not our friend Asa, but our friend John. and who does other writing. And I was talking with him, and he had sent them over to me, and I was reading through them, and those are kind of interesting. And I just went back through them again recently because I was giving him my impressions on them. Try to decipher some of the legalese. And those are kind of interesting. I'd be curious to see what their status is now, to see if they got any traction. I don't know that they are going to, but I'm sure he'll have something coming out on them at some point. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good update.
Yeah. And it just reminded me of it because one of the lawsuits is this girl, Maya, who there was she had a Where Are They Now episode that was out this week. So that made me think of it. So anyway, yeah. Okay. So Natalie, speaking of Natalie and Mike of the aliens, God, one more episode of them just not deciding, oh, we have issues, we need to figure it out. And Mike not being committal to anything. But there was some chatter about Natalie and neighbor Tamara's trip to the hotel and back. And people are calling fraud on this whole situation because you're going to drive, you're going to drive 3 hours there and 3 hours back or whatever. Not a mask in sight on anybody. And somebody doesn't have neither of them have $80 for a hotel, and they didn't know they couldn't use somebody else's credit card, or given times of pandemic, wouldn't there be another option? Couldn't you get Mike on FaceTime? Blah, 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 blah.
Or book your own room.
Yeah, exactly. But did they have their own money to book, the $89 to book the travel lodge or whatever it was? As somebody who used to work in hotels, what are your thoughts?
I was just irritated, I think, because I mean, it does. Okay. So when I was in the world, it does happen. If someone's checking in, you need their ID and it needs to match the information that they're checking in with. So that's right. You can't go up to the desk and say, I'm getting a room for John Smith, and you don't have an ID to prove that you're that person. Mm-hmm. But what Mike should have done, if he was really setting up a room for Natalie and Tamara to stay, because I'm assuming that they were probably going to stay together since this hotel was 15 miles north of the airport, that he would put it in either Natalie's name or Tamara's name, and Natalie could use her passport, or Tamara could use or Tamara. I'm sorry, I keep saying her name wrong. or Tamara could use her ID. So I guess I don't understand the whole booking of this hotel and then the drama behind. We're going to be on the streets, and it's the fuck, you have a car. Find another hotel or ask Mike to wire you money, or is Tamara that tapped? I mean, she could be. She could not have a credit I'm not
card
trying to
with
assume that she has money, but what? When you check in, the only thing you really have to do, and I'm assuming that that's a more mainstream hotel, is put your card down mainly for incidentals, right? So it pings your card for a certain amount, usually the incidentals per night, which could be $25. And then the final settlement is when you pay, and you could pay with anything. So they could have at least checked in. So I do, when I watched that scene, I was like, this is total bullshit. Everyone who's worked and stayed in hotels knows that this could have been remedied and not this drastic spiral in the streets talking about being homeless and shit. I just couldn't. And then Tamara's sitting there looking useless as ever. I'm like, does she think? I don't know. There was no problem solving between these two. I can't.
Yeah. And I think that's what it was for most people. They were just whatever. And I think people at this point are just so tired of their story because it's been the same exact episode all season long. And so it's just, the last couple of episodes have been Natalie gearing up this hysteria, right? Each episode, ratchets it up another couple notches and, setting us up for this week's episode.
Well, because at this point they are trying to say that and this is where I have another issue with their timeline. I've said this in the last podcast, but they get married with a few days to spare on her visa. I think it's really like 7 days, honestly. They cut it, they did it the last minute, but it wasn't this like
the last
you need
day.
to marry tomorrow or you need to ship out kind of thing. Like they got married with some spare time. So it's really hard to buy the whole scenario.
Everything that's happening
really
right
hard. And then knowing the leak, and I'm assuming that this is true. We're kind of going by what we've seen on social media, is that they're divorced or separated at least. So who knows? I'm like, so then it makes you wonder, like, did they just get married so she could stay out here?
Well, that's what I was thinking. So like in this last episode, they, when she's basically begging him whether, to get married, and she's all but saying it, and I kind of just wanted her to say it, like, just let's get married so I can at least stay here and then let's figure out the rest of it. Like she wouldn't say that. And I feel like that's what she was aiming for. She was saying everything around it, and it could be, English is her second language or third or whatever.
Or the show doesn't want it to look like they are actually committing visa fraud, But yeah, it was just this weird dynamic of how like Mike is totally turned off and doesn't even give a shit versus her pleading.
Like he can't even form a complete sentence talking to her.
I don't know. I feel like there's way more that happened. Of course, we're probably getting frauded by production, but yeah, it just the whole episode, their whole portions like pissed me off so much.
Yeah, and I think people were
enjoyed Tariq and Hazel's wedding more than that segment.
Well, yeah. So I mean, with Mike and Natalie, I think people were so like at this point they're just so over their storyline that it was hard to get like angsty about this hotel room fraud thing, whatever situation was going on there. And so people were just like, whatever, like, we don't care. Everything's fake. Everything's stupid. We don't even care enough to be outraged by this. Yeah. Tariq and Hazel's wedding. I wanted to say they went an entire episode or an entire day without talking about getting a girlfriend, but that
we're talking about, no, wait, did they mention Minty in this one?
I don't remember. It's possible.
I think I'm so numb to it that I didn't even care anymore, but I don't think they mentioned it.
I feel like Tariq said something about his ex, meaning their ex, meaning Minty, but I can't say for sure. But I was watching this going, oh, wow, they're doing this whole thing without ever mentioning another, a girlfriend. And then right after the ceremony, they show them in their interviews going, and now we'll still get a girlfriend. Like, oh, of course, you can't go one fucking episode without talking about it.
Well, of course not, because people would be like, so did you get, I mean, people would have the question. So it's a good thing that they mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And then I was kind of upset with Hazel because I'm like, why did you wait a couple days before your wedding to drop this bomb on your parents that you're bisexual?
I know.
Why didn't you wait until afterwards if you were worried that they would like not come to your Zoom wedding? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, this whole storyline has been, that's it. Like they really reached for this, right? Like they made the entire season about her being bisexual and then wanting a girlfriend. And they managed to make every single episode about it, including her wedding, which is like, oh, come on now. Really? I thought she looked beautiful though.
She did look gorgeous.
She
looked
my God. Really, really great. And Tariq didn't look,
he looks
like a clown. I mean,
he cleaned up fine. She looked gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
And their friend that married them was like, yes, that's a good choice. That's a good choice.
Yeah. I like that. They're having everybody on FaceTime with the Zoom or whatever it was. I was watching for pointers because we're going to be doing this for our wedding this summer because my parents can't come. So we're going to have to do that.
Right.
So
I would say with the best advice from someone who does, I don't know, some type of streaming or something, honestly, have one device on a
like a tripod.
Mm-hmm. right? Or you can have multiple devices with different calls on different tripods so that people can watch them all at once and get different angles.
Oh,
so you can make it really interesting.
Fancy.
So that way you're not like getting bounced around by grandma, Francis, who's like giving everyone a freaking headache by jumping around.
Like Mother Brandon at Brandon and Julia's wedding when she's holding the two phones. Never mind that there's a professional camera crew and photographer there. Let's hold the two different.
No. That's how it is. I'm sorry. Like
it always is going to be that way.
I photographed many weddings, and there's always the family who thinks they're going to get the better picture than you. So they're in front of you. They're like, their hands are in the air. They have cameras. Like I even put in
they're watching it through their iPad or whatever.
Right. I even had in my contracts, like, you need to be behind me because I can't get that like candid photo, but there's the cell phone and Uncle George standing there. And you're like, oh my God, move.
And then when they go watch it back, it's just everybody's feet or something.
That's all it is.
The way they have it angled.
Or it's really blurry because you tried to edit out family member. It's terrible. But we could talk about the weddings because theirs was okay. Let's talk about the wedding. Theirs seemed a little cheesy, but I guess that's their relationship. Right.
Oh, Brandon and Julia.
Yeah. And the cards that were for the visually impaired.
Yeah. Why did they need poster board? It's not like they wrote on them really big. It's not like they used them as cue cards. Like, why did production tell them that they had to make them big enough so that the cameras could read them over their shoulders? And that's what they took away.
No, I'm wondering if they made them that big because they thought someone could stand behind them and they could read it without having to hold the cards, like make it seem like they memorized their vows. I have no clue.
Yeah, like I didn't understand this. And I mean, I can't even come up with a reasonable guess as to why.
I'm hoping that I just missed their reasoning somewhere in the dialogue and that it was all explained and I just missed it because I miss everything. But I don't think I did. So yeah, that's a bigger mystery. Julia or Brandon, if you do happen to listen, can you explain, please?
Yeah, please.
If you so happen to stumble across this podcast, it's fine if you don't, but
you could reach out and explain the cue cards. That would be great.
But other than that, it was nice. Her dress was gorgeous.
You know,
he looked like he looked like Elf on the Shelf getting married. I am forever ruined by that image because thank you everybody, including him, for making that damn comparison. So I just see this like jolly elf.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of his like polka dotted shirt and jacket like combo, but I was like, whatever. I mean, whatever, it's fine. Didn't quite mesh well to me. I mean, not that I'm it wasn't the fact that it was like polka dots or whatever. Like that particular combination that he had, it looks like it was mismatched. It's like he was trying on Dad's jacket. Maybe it's because he looks 12, but.
Did you like, and I think this was his grandfather that they interviewed outside.
Yes.
The guy who's
Pop,
who was like, I was going to go find him one. I was like, wait, what were your methods going to be?
I know, right? Didn't we have a dinner scene with him and he was like earlier in the season and he was being all perverted? What was that? I can't remember.
I forgot, but I don't put it past. Like he hit dirty old man status.
So when this pandemic started, Hetero Life Mate, he started working from home and on a completely different schedule. So this meant that I was now in charge of planning and cooking dinner for the entire family. So this freaked me out, especially when a trip to the grocery store is stressful and I just really can't be going. But then I found Gobble. Gobble is the meal kit delivery service designed for real life. I've got one kid in virtual school and one kid in in-person school, and Hetero Life Mate is working all kinds of wacky hours. But with Gobble, no matter how crazy your schedules are, we can still get a nutritious, flavorful, homemade dinner on the table where I sit down with all of the kids because it only takes 15 minutes.
Definitely. And I mean, Gobble does all the time-consuming work for us. They pick out the healthy quality ingredients. One of my favorite, they pre-portion and prep the ingredients, like even chopping up the vegetables for you. You just pick the meal from Gobble's extensive dinner menu each week, including a variety of flavors, classic dishes, global recipes, and delicious vegetarian options. Plus, They do have a line of lean and clean recipes that have low calorie and low carb options.
And the Gobble box is delivered fresh right to your doorstep. It's so easy to prepare. It's ready to serve in just 15 minutes. And I'm telling you, Gobble is a life-changing service. It is such a life hack.
Plus, you can skip delivery weeks or cancel the service at any time.
They're offering our listeners this fantastic limited time deal, which is 6 meals for just $36 plus free shipping. That's dinner for 2 for 3 nights for just $36. Great way to try this. And it's only available if you use the code FRAUDED. To get this special offer now, go to gobble.com/frauded. That's gobble.com/frauded for 6 meals for just $36.
Now more than ever, it's important for you and your family to enjoy the spaces you're in most often. Visit FergusonShowrooms.com to shop online or schedule a personalized consultation to meet with our experts at your local Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery. Together, we'll help you make the most of home and create a space you'll love to live in. Get started on your project and discover extraordinary products like the Pro Grand Range by Thermador.
That's where people just roll their eyes and don't mind Grandpa. He's just being weird again.
Then he falls asleep on the couch.
And he falls asleep and you just, whatever. You keep going.
Yeah.
Who else's wedding did we get to see?
Rebecca and Zied. So what is up with Rebecca rolling up to her 4th wedding in a horse-drawn carriage?
No, that is fulfilling your fucking dreams.
All right.
I think so because I know she had multiple marriages, but she may have not had the wedding she wanted, right? And then there's also there's also the trends too, like, oh, actually, I saw this on Pinterest for my 4th wedding. I'd like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get a wedding the first time, and so as I'm planning an inevitable second wedding, I do want to go all out. So I can understand like wanting to pick up on some trends in a later.
Yeah.
It looked like she was sad in the carriage. Like some of the pictures that they took, it was like, why does she look so sad?
Like Eeyore sitting there by herself. What about
they just caught really bad moments of her. I'm like, oh, come on, producers, do better.
And then her son-in-law's like wearing their like gun show best to walk her down the aisle.
Hey, they dressed in their best, okay? Come as you are.
That's fine. I mean, mine's going to be casual. I get it. Like, you do you, whatever. I just thought, like, you could have at least maybe taken the hats off, maybe the sunglasses off. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe that was formal. Like, we don't know informal.
You're right.
Sometimes it's a different story.
Yep.
But yeah, they were cute. Zied had a major glow up.
Yeah, he looked good. Looked good. Yeah, he definitely looked good. They seemed happy. Her dress, it was fine. Whatever. I'm not going to tell her.
Everyone's going to make comments. I think
ugly.
that
I'm not going to say her dress was ugly or anything. It is what it is.
It's about how she liked it, right?
Right. Right.
And if she enjoyed it, that's good. I don't like dress bashing and all that because everyone's styles are so different. I want a black wedding dress and you can't tell me anything about that.
Yeah. It's to have a black wedding dress. Are you
going to a wedding or a funeral? I'd be like, maybe both.
Yeah.
Who else is on the list?
I think that's all the weddings we saw. We saw Jovi and Yara ring shopping, and he was like, why does she want a ring? That's more than something I can get from a bubblegum machine. And
like, imagine this ring is a pack of beer.
Wait, a 6-pack, a 12-pack, a case? Like, what are we talking here?
Would you want me to just get you one beer? Or would you like a 6-pack or a 24-pack? And you'll be like, well, I'm going to have that whole pack all night. You're like, and I'm going to need this ring all my life. So we're going to. No.
Yeah, right.
Comparing rings to a pack of beer. Great. But no, he's being cheap. And I'm like, aren't you like buku rich, travel the world, millionaire type? Buy the fucking ring. It's $1,200.
I know. It's not like it was that expensive. I don't think.
Angry.
But
buy it before you have to pay for kids, okay?
Oh, God.
This is like the last fun expense you're going to have before everything starts disappearing to diapers.
You don't want her
which I highly recommend. Cloth diapering is fantastic. Just saying.
I love pictures of babies' butts in cloth diapers.
I know.
I personally didn't cloth diaper, but I had a lot of friends who did. And, you know, you're friends with all like the mommies on, you know, the interwebs and stuff.
I was one of them.
And
I had the clothies and the inserts, and I did the washing and the diaper sprayer, and it costs fucking money. So Jovi, buy the ring. Because whether or not you do cloth or regular diapers, you're going to be spending
buy the ring.
money.
You don't want her staring at her hand every single day and night for the rest of her life, or for the next 2 years until she divorces you after she gets her green card.
Stop it.
You know, just like being resentful at you. Because if she remembers that you were so cheap about it and stuff, it's one thing if you want a cheap ring and that's what you want, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't want any ring, if you want a cheap ring, whatever you want, I'm not begrudging anybody what they want. If it's not what she wants and she only like got it because like whatever, you know, and this, she's going to resent you. And I'm not saying go out and spend money you don't have on something, you know.
Well, it has to be reasonable, but don't like he was making it like he was trying to be cheap versus someone who would honestly be like, dude, I can't afford that. I can afford this, right? Yeah. So
find
mom
something
was actually
in this case.
Mom was speaking some sense, talking about how it's going to be on her ring forever. It's like, don't be cheap, son.
Yeah.
Anyways, banter that was probably not even a problem, you know.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for their Vegas wedding.
Yeah. And they're saving that, I guess, for this upcoming week.
Well, they have to have some content, right? So we'll see.
Who else do we still have to get married?
Well, I have a feeling
Mike and Natalie.
Mike and Natalie. Yeah, Mike and Natalie and Joey and Yara.
Even though it's going to be point, they've already technically gotten married because of...
You know, the show doesn't care about what's happening in real life, though.
Right.
They're going to carry on for the people not on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or the internet, for that matter, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, like, you figured out this timeline, right? And they actually got married like 7 days before her visa expired. If what we're seeing is actually the date correct, within that she has 1 day left, then they're already married at this point that they're having this argument.
Right. But I think they cheese the timeline to match the story anyway, or to make it seem like it's tighter than it really is.
Yeah.
We do see a lot of them waiting until the last month to get married, which is fine because you have that you have that ability to do so. It's not like the timer clicks out and all of a sudden the springboard comes up and they get catapulted out of the country.
Right.
Like there's a process.
Wouldn't that be funny?
It would be hilarious. You are the weakest link. Send them back. It doesn't happen that way, though. Yeah, so it's just
and she was
hyperbolized in their storyline. Drives me freaking nuts.
Yeah, I think that they addressed that possibility by her saying the whole thing of her not wanting to be here illegally, and then the conversation with the immigration attorney / therapist. Saying, it wouldn't be good if you overstayed and you weren't welcome, you weren't in status, blah, 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 blah. Because otherwise, it's not even the middle of the pandemic. The pandemic had just started. This was April, right? This is early April. So it had barely been started. Like they're not gonna lasso her and yank her back to Ukraine. Everything's shut down. She can't go anywhere. Nobody can do anything. Their government offices are shut down. There's nobody is getting their visas revoked at this point. So I think they had to do that for to cover that basis. I don't know. Thoughts? My thoughts.
Those are my thoughts. I agree.
Thoughts. Okay.
All right. So I actually want to take a moment to talk about New Year's resolutions, because my feeling on New Year's resolutions. They're kind of cheesy. We don't really stick to them. By February, the gyms are all empty again. But I have been open to making smaller, impactful changes that I think are just important.
I know we joke about husbands buying their wives' workout equipment for Christmas, but my fiance got me a spinning bike for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. I'm totally obsessed. So another thing that you and I have talked about in the same regard is that is increasing and optimizing our vitamin intake.
Right. Because I've been taking the same prenatals that I have been for the past 5 years. So I'm thinking I should probably start adding like a daily vitamin, maybe something to support my energy, sleep, and something to help me with my fitness goals. And this isn't even, something just short term. I think in the long term as well.
Well, that's what's really great about this company called Care Of. They are a personalized vitamin company, and they offer you this really in-depth but short. It's like a 5-minute online quiz. Ask you questions about your diet, your lifestyle, any health concerns you have to help address your specific like wellness goals. And it'll package them all together in a cute little package with your name on it. And one of the things that I really like about it too is that they're very transparent about their research and sourcing behind the ingredients in their products. So it's all nice and clean, and you're not taking like weird stuff from God knows where.
Right. And so I took the quiz, which I did find to be pleasant, saying that I don't like quizzes either. And the vitamins they recommended for me was iron, which was in a higher dose that I usually take, rhodiola, superberry, collagen, and a vitamin B12 like energy powder stick that they call extra batteries, which honestly, sometimes that's exactly what I feel like I need. But it's really awesome too, because I think, they make sure you put your name there so that they can put your name on the bag. Like they really customize it and they make it feel like, this it was specifically made for you.
Yeah, and it definitely recommended some for me that I hadn't considered in my vitamin regimen before, but that I think would definitely be beneficial to my overall wellness. So I'm excited about this whole company. And they are offering a special for Fraudcast listeners. For 50% off your first order of Care Of, go to takecareof.com and enter code Fraudcast50. That's takecareof.com. That is spelled takecareof.com and enter code Fraudcast50 for 50% off your first order. That's a great deal.
Yeah, I think 50%. I mean, and, I think it's definitely worth any of our, listeners to try. I think it's always good to add a little extra vitamins in your life.
Definitely. And we'll have that linked in the show notes for you as well. One thing that's happening not on the show, but off the show on Instagram is, so we've been talking a bit about Andrew on Instagram, right? How he's sort of coming for Amira, and he's like releasing all these quote unquote receipts that are supposed to show that she's this terrible, awful person or whatever. So he's on this mission to whatever. And in his latest Instagram stunt, I would say, is he decided to take a swipe at none other than like by Toborowski David.
I know. How dare he?
Right? So somebody asked him a question in like an Instagram story, ask a question of like, if he was an MMA star, like, or had an MMA fight with anybody in the 90-day cast, who would it be? And he says, oh, it would have to be that, Ninja Turtle Penguin Batman ass bitch, which is the term, the term that in early season, Nikki and Chris, David's benefactor, her brother had said to David, called him that. So that's where that came from, right? So Andrew invokes this on Instagram, and the internet was not having it. Everybody is like coming for Andrew. They're like, how dare you?
David is so nice. And while I know David has his history and his storyline, and people may think
there's problematic issues.
It's problematic and this and that. I would say in the community, he's really been a pillar for sticking together and reaching out to other 90-day cast members and not really caring about their storyline.
Yeah.
Like I see him liking things where I'm like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But he's just generally nice, right?
Yeah.
Like I even have one of his aprons hanging in my kitchen. Aww. I know. And,
nice.
It's just tasteless to start shit with other cast members in the first place.
Right.
And he's not going to win any more friends by going after David. And it's not that like anyone idolizes him, but like in a sense, he's David and Annie, and just don't do that, and don't talk about violence, and don't talk about beating other people up. I think that's where I kind of like get a bad taste in my mouth when he's just like, yeah, I'll do this and that. It's like, okay,
okay,
all right, take the edge down a little bit. It's whatever.
Go on with your bad self,
And going out of his way to try to make Amira look bad, even if she was, when we pull out the receipt game, it just, I instantly get turned off. Some people like it, whatever, but I just instantly I can't. Yeah. Because you're taking the time to slam someone that you apparently once loved. It just shows what kind of person you are. That's
and I think some of this started because I think David had shown some support for Amira, but it could have been like in the way that he shows support for all cast members, right?
Exactly. And you pay him, he'll make you a fucking cameo. Okay. So money talks, and he's gonna deliver. So I don't understand.
I mean, the whole running joke with him is, the world could be ending and, there's a pandemic and an asteroid hitting, but, David is there saying, hey, we sell cameos.
Yeah. Like he has that marketing down. Coronavirus, don't worry about it. Get cameo.
Yeah, we don't have to touch anybody.
Oh my God. But yeah, so the internet is burning with hate towards him for going after David.
Yeah, like he wasn't already
Annie got a little feisty.
He wasn't winning friends and influencing people, but then when he decided to take on David, it's like, okay, now you're just stupid.
Well, good luck to him. I know we'll probably still have to see him on Bearsall and whatever, but
I
think at this point he's just being a troll. No, honestly, and the more people are feeding in and reposting and talking about it, the more he's going to do it. So, that's just how trolls feed in the wild.
It works. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So that's it. That's all we got for you this week.
That's a wrap.
I want to say a big thank you to Katie, who joined our Patreon this past week. And if you want to join our Patreon, that is patreon.com/thefraudcast. We are currently discussing Bearsall over there, and we've got a double episode coming your way this weekend. I think is hopefully it is going to get
We have
out.
to batch the 2 episodes because they're so boring, but we're going to have to start moving on to something else too.
Yeah,
it's like
it's starting.
Hey, I want to record about this. What happened? Zip.
Yeah.
Nada.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I did want to also give a shout out to the person who posted about Natalie being in Florida at 90 Day Rando. Follow him. He has the sleuth skills. I don't know how he does it. I honestly don't know. It scares me sometimes.
Better than you used to do.
Katrina, it scares me sometimes.
I haven't done Dick. No, I know.
It scares me sometimes.
He's good. He is really good. And he posts fun stuff too.
He does. And he actually probably has or takes the time to make fun videos and stuff. So yes, definitely give him a follow. And that's all I have. Yeah. I'm good. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, thanks for joining us. If you like us, please make sure you like, review, and subscribe to this podcast. That's it. That's all we got. Thanks. We are what are we? The Fraudcast. And we're dumpster diving so you don't have to.